And it is now 9:30, so therefore, time for Tillamook Today. The host this morning, LeeAnn Neal. Good morning, LeeAnn.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's hard to do otherwise on a sunny day like this.
I know, it's gorgeous.
Okay.
All right.
Well, yeah, I'm LeeAnn Neal. I'm editor of the Tillamook County Pioneer, which is your free-to-read digital news source for Tillamook County. I'm here for Shayna Peterson, and I've got Gordon McCraw, director of Tillamook County Emergency Management today.
Good morning.
How's it going, Gordon?
The sun is shining. Something different.
That's right. That's right. Well, speaking of the sun, what do you know about the FEMA funds to help us with the damage done when it wasn't so sunny?
Well, we'll start way back at the beginning. You remember back in December on the 6th or so, we started having the fun and games of all the nonstop, it seemed like, front after front after front. It actually started in November.
Right.
But it really, shall we say, filled them up on December the 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
It ended up being a disaster, and the state finally put in for the disaster for the period of 6 December through the 23rd of December as a result of the heavy rains and the winds and the flooding and the landslides and everything that goes along with it. We, of course, in the Tillamook County signed our declaration on the 7th. That gives us a little extra permitting leeway and lets the state know that we're having a problem.
Right.
After that, then the state itself declares a disaster. The local governments, it wasn't just Tillamook County, and we kind of get blinders on and say, well, the week of the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th is when we had our bad storm and the disaster, and that should be the disaster and what's taking it so long. Well, as a matter of fact, it actually took longer than that because Tillamook County wasn't the only county that was being dumped on at that time. So the local governments that were declaring include the city of Vernonia, Glasgow, St. Helens, Rainier, Columbia City, city of Gresham, Columbia County, of course, Tillamook County, Lincoln County, Washington County, and Clackamas County.
Right.
So all the different counties in there submit a declaration to the state, and on the December the 10th, the governor declared a state of emergency for the 13 counties, including Benton, Clackamas, Clatsop, Columbia, Lane, Lincoln, Lynn, Marion, Multnomah, Polk, Tillamook, Washington, and Yamhill. And then on the 14th, because it just kept going,
right,
she added 6 more counties: Coos, Cary, Douglas, Josephine, and Klamath. And then she made the declaration, which did 2 things. In part, it allowed a request to go into federal highways. Obviously, we had a lot of devastation on the public road systems. Highway 101 suffered many slides and cracks and things, and as did Highway 6, not as many as 101. And it also allowed the state to provide state assistance if we needed it for different things. While that is all going on, immediately after the event, or as the event is ending, the Red Cross was great enough to come in and start doing some initial damage assessment to the different counties, including Tillamook County. And what that does is they go around and assess and see what kind of minor, moderate, or severe damage is done. That helps us later down the road when FEMA and the state come in to say, hey, how much did you have? And from that, they decide whether or not there's even just cause to do a preliminary damage assessment by them being FEMA and the state. And on the week of January the 11th through the 14th, that's what happened is they did what's known as a preliminary damage assessment, where the state and FEMA come in and look at all the damage throughout. That includes business damage, lost business, and, of course, the individual damage to the different places. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it was Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the public assistance people came in, and I'll talk about what the difference is with public and individual assistance here in a couple of minutes, but the PDA, we call them, people came in and looked at the local public damage, which includes your roads, public roads, your private roads, any damage to public property, those kinds of things. That's where and that's an easy one to get. I say easy because it's identified. It's a dollar per population. And so for Tillamook County, our goal was to have at least, and I say goal, we had to have at least just under $1 million worth of damage done in the county in order to have the public assistance portion of the FEMA declaration. Needless to say, our road department, who had over $8 million by themselves.
They were the overachievers.
That's right. So once it broke down, of course, part of that $8 million is on that federal highway system, and so that can't be counted towards the FEMA. So they broke that out, and that meant that the road department only had a little over $3 million worth of damage to give to the feds. So we still met it easily.
Yeah.
Each of the counties submit their information to the state. The state has a threshold too, and again, it's by population. So the state had to have over $5 million worth of damage. The state had at that time over $25 million worth of damage. So of course we met the public assistance or the public assistance side, the PA side. It was conducted, and we went around and talked to some of the business and had discussions about some of their lost business and what damages some of them had, because of course some businesses did get flooded, and so there's another element in there besides, you have the individual assistance, which we call IA, the public assistance, which we call PA, and then there's the SBA part, Small Business Association, where they come in and provide assistance to businesses that were impacted as a result of the storm system in a number of ways, from direct damage to the building to lost business. So all that went through, and the information gets turned into the state being Oregon Emergency Management, who compiles the whole thing and then turns it into the governor. Then the governor reviews it and decides whether or not it should be submitted to FEMA. So on February the 2nd, Governor Brown did submit the presidential declaration requesting public assistance to Clackamas, Clatsop, Columbia, Coos, Cary, Lane, Lincoln, Lynn, Multnomah, Polk, Tillamook, Washington, and Yamhill counties. And then on the 17th, President Obama declared a major disaster for the 2015 Pacific Storm event from December the 6th through December the 23rd. The declaration will provide public assistance, the PA part, to Clatsop, Columbia, Cary, Coos, Lane, Lincoln, Lynn, Multnomah, Polk. Tillamook is obviously the one that we're interested in, Washington and Yamhill counties. The individual assistance part, they were reviewing after they had put out the information, but we have since gotten word that they have denied the public or the individual assistance element. That would be the part where people with uninsured loss to their primary residences may have been able to get assistance from FEMA. The state has already said, or the governor's office has already said, they're going to appeal that.
Oh, okay.
So, don't give up hope yet, but the individual assistance part is, in fact, the hardest part to get from FEMA. And it's, the PA part is defined. You have X number of dollars times your population. And so that's a threshold that's identified, and you can see the individual assistance is a little more vague. They review it and look at several elements of it before they decide whether or not to get it. I saw during Sandy there were several thousand homes in one neighborhood that were damaged as a result of the hurricane out there on the East Coast, and they did not get the IA part. But if you remember the slide up in Washington that took out the 30-some homes, they did get it. So it's really, I say it's done behind mirrors and smoke and all that stuff. I'm not really sure who or how they make that determination, but for now, we've been denied that part of it.
Okay.
But
when did you find that out?
I think it came in Friday.
Oh, okay. And so if it's ever, if the appeal is successful and they do grant it, does everybody who applied get it then? Or is it
no
case by case then?
It's a case by case thing then, and it's never going to be as good as it was.
Okay.
You know, having been through Katrina, I can tell you that there were a whole bunch of disappointed people. They don't just come in with a blank checkbook and say, well, how much was it? Here it is. Here's your money.
Yeah.
They are doing uninsured losses, not to bring you whole again or not to bring you back to the state you were before the storm hit, but to give you some sort of assistance to make sure your place is livable again.
Okay.
And it's uninsured. So the first thing they're going to ask you is, did you have insurance? And if you say no, you're going to have to explain why you didn't have insurance on your place.
Okay.
And then, you know, once they make that determination, like a lot of the people in Rockaway did not have flood insurance because they were in an area that had never flooded before. It's not on a floodplain. It wasn't required.
Right.
So they didn't get it. And then it flooded, and now they have the loss. And the insurance company says, well, you didn't have flood insurance, so we're not giving it to you.
Right.
And now FEMA says we're not going to help you either for the time being anyway.
For the time being.
So, again, the difference between public assistance and individual assistance, the public assistance is provided to the states or local governments or certain types of nonprofit organization in the form of disaster grants for debris removal, emergency protective measures, repair, replacement, restoration, like the county roads that were damaged. You know, LeeAnn, obviously, with $8 million worth of damage to the county road system, that's a lot of damage.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. The problem was not, well, the problem was different this time with the disaster. Everybody knows we're no strangers to disasters here in Tillamook County with the weather. But this one seemed to be very unusual, and it was in the fact that it rained so hard for so long that it caused water to drain faster than the drainage system could handle.
Right.
And so you would have culverts that 99% of the time are adequate for the amount of flow that comes through. This particular case is that 1% time that it wasn't.
Right.
And so it couldn't drain through the pipe fast enough, so it went around the pipe. And in doing so, it either went through somebody else's driveway and eroded it, or it eroded around the culvert and ended up blowing the culvert out. And the culvert's there because it's under a road, so that means it took the road out.
Right.
It was just a vicious cycle. And that's, you know, again, it's different than the normal flooding that we see. We saw the same type of flooding we always do, where the different rivers come up and flood the North Main area or Nehalem. The places that normally flood did,
right.
But this time we had places that don't normally flood as well.
Right. That first night I started catching on that things were happening left and right. I flipped on the scanner and I could barely keep up. I was tweeting and posting, and it was just one road after another.
You and I were feeding off of each other, and
Yeah,
we could, like you said, I ended up getting a person to do nothing but just keep up with social media for me.
Yeah.
And you know that provided great benefit because LeeAnn would get the message over to Jeanette at the incident command team, hey, we're closing this road. And as she's typing it in, so is he. Right. You know, and then you sucked it into yours. And, you know, the great news was there was a lot of people that had the information in an extremely timely manner. That's the only great feedback out of the storm that I got.
That's the same here. You know, they avoided inconveniences they probably would have encountered otherwise.
You know, get on the road and find out that there's no road there. That's not a real good situation to be in.
No, it's not. I just realized I'm not a veteran at this. I should have been reading a word from our sponsor here.
Well, you better get busy.
I better do that. That's important. I'll read this one from Roby's. You don't buy furniture every day, so it just makes sense that when you do invest in that new sofa or recliner, you're paying the best price possible. The same goes for that mattress or your refrigerator. At Roby's Furniture and Appliance, you'll find the top name brands: Maytag, Frigidaire, Lazy Boy, Lane Simmons, and Tempur-Pedic, and more, all under one roof at low, low prices. Roby's offers high-volume pricing and selection with small-town service and a smile. They have something in every price range and every taste. And don't forget, Roby's offers free delivery to veterans and active-duty military. See them right now for great savings, serving the folks who call the coast home. Roby's Furniture and Appliance, Astoria, Tillamook, Lincoln City, Newport, and Florence. Okay, back to
Can't
Gordon
wait to see
McCraw.
the new Roby's built there in the North Main area.
Oh, yeah. I haven't actually, I know, I've been meaning to talk to them. We tried to connect last summer, and then the fair happened, and we need to get back together.
There's a lot happening all the time.
There is.
So back to the public assistance part. When what will happen next is FEMA will come down and set up workshops, and the different nonprofit, state, local government people can come in and show what their project is. For example, in Bay City, there's an important project that needs to take place near my house.
I hear that 9th Street.
9th Street has a big slide going on it right now.
Yeah.
But the roads that Public Works needs to repair can take place. As you know, this all costs money, and a lot of money was being spent to get everything at least usable during that time frame. When it finally now can be repaired permanently, it's a 75-25% ratio. In other words, FEMA will pay 75%. The local jurisdiction, whoever it is, has to pay 25%, which is different than the individual assistance. That would help. Like during Katrina, we couldn't stay in the house, so we had to stay in a hotel, and they paid for the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Those kinds of things. Other needs, the house is damaged, like I said, uninsured loss, those kinds of things. There's also low-interest loans. And then the third element in there is this SBA, or Small Business Association. They provide low-interest disaster loans to businesses of whatever the size, private, nonprofit organization, homeowners and renters. It's going to be available to those people that are looking for the individual assistance. They can still come in and talk to FEMA about an SBA loan to help them get their house back in order.
Okay.
The not lost there. It's not free,
right?
But it is extremely low interest loan.
Okay.
So, and they give you plenty of time to pay it back, and that'll also help in the economic damage caused by the disaster for those businesses that have lost business, that the impact is severe enough that they're not sure if this spring they're going to still be in business.
Right.
So those are the things that we're looking at. That's where we are today. The next step is FEMA will probably contact me this week to say, hey, where can we come set up to start talking to the different people to see what services we'll be able to provide them.
Okay. Well, it's definitely a complex process.
Yes, it is a step-by-step, and, of course, when you have damage to your house, you don't want it repaired, or you don't want the information 6 months from now. You want it today.
Right.
And that's a slow process, and you have to go step A before you can do to step B, before you can go to step C, and we're almost at the end of the initial step process anyway. We still have the appeal process that we're trying to go through to get the IA part, but otherwise the ball is finally rolling.
That's good news.
What else has been going on? The sheriff wanted me to mention we're still having a problem with phone scams.
Oh, my.
And now that we've had a lot of officer injuries and deaths in the recent past, I mean, one time last week I noticed there were 7 officers killed in a 7-day period.
Oh, man. Is that including the Seaside officer?
Yes, it was.
Uh-huh.
So the additional phone scam that's going around now is they're calling around trying to get donations. So, and they're not really associated with any money-raising activity other than they're trying to line their own pockets.
Right.
So the phone scams that are prevalent right now are the IRA scam. Obviously, every income tax time they come out of the woods, try to take advantage of the situation, call you up and say, hey, I'm the IRS, and you owe us money, and we're fixing to send the police to your house unless you go down to the local store right now and get a card with $1,000 on it, and we'll tell you where to mail it. And if we don't get it within a time frame, we're sending the police over to take you to jail.
Gosh.
And there have been some people in the county that fell for it and actually sent them the money. I've sent it out a couple of times, and they were rather unfortunate to call my house. I think it was last week or the week before, and my wife had fun with them.
Oh, good for her.
They by the end of the conversation, they were calling her bad names and hung up on her. So another one is a nephew or a supposed relative of yours calling in saying that I've just been arrested and I need $1,500 to get bailed out, and I'm in Mexico or I'm in Colombia, I'm somewhere other than there,
Right.
and they're the long lost relative that apparently you forgot you had, and you please need to send the money right away.
Right.
And again, we've had some people fall for that and send them the money, and
they're just out.
You're out the money.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult to track them down, and like the phone scam about the IRS, those are coming from out of the country, and they're doing it in a sophisticated manner where they jump phone to phone to phone so that it's almost impossible to trace back. And even if you do trace them back, they're in a country that probably doesn't have an agreement with the United States,
Right.
and so you're out the money.
Right.
There's not a whole lot that can be done. And then, like I said, the last of the scams that are running around right now is the one where they're calling saying they represent the National Police Association and looking for donations, and the money's going to go help the fallen officers or whatever. Most of those types of organizations send you information in the mail.
Right.
The legitimate ones. The ones that call you on the phone, you don't know who's calling you.
Right.
So it's probably better just to make a direct donation rather than go through a supposed donation organization that's calling you on the telephone. Play it safe.
Sure.
Once the money's gone, it's gone.
Well, and it's the same, isn't it, with any kind of action from the IRS? They're going to contact you by mail. They're not going to call you
Right.
on the telephone.
The IRS does not call you on the telephone and threaten to take you to jail. There's a lot of process there that goes in, just like the FEMA process. There's an IRS process that goes through. It starts with a letter in the mail saying, "Hey, you're being audited."
Yeah.
And then you have to go to their building.
Right.
So that's not a scam.
Yeah.
The ones where they call you on the phone and say, "We're going to come arrest you unless you send us the money today, right now."
Well, which is just the worst because they're just counting on catching people by surprise and scaring them,
and
they do sometimes.
Even I've gotten emails from people that, even though they knew the warning was there, they said, it was still intimidating.
Sure.
Even though they knew it was fake, it was still intimidating to them. So
that's just the worst.
It's disgusting to think that there's people that'll take advantage of it like that, and especially the elderly seem to be the ones that suffer the most.
I was just going to say my grandma, she died quite a while ago, but when she was around, if she'd gotten a call like that, I can imagine her, thinking, well, I better take care of this. I'm a responsible person. I don't
want to go to jail.
Yeah.
What's my daughter and my grandkids going to say?
Right. What do I need to do to fix this? But yeah, that's the worst. I'm going to take a moment here to read a bit from Tillamook Motor Company, another sponsor. If you're driving anything other than a Ford, it's time to make a switch to America's favorite brand. Around the country, people have made the switch to Ford. Find out why for yourself at Tillamook Ford. And whether you're in the market for a new car or something pre-owned, you want to be shopping local. You want to talk to Tillamook Motor Company. Other outfits charge dealer markup, and you could end up paying a few $1,000s more for a vehicle than you would at Tillamook Motors. And if you're not in the market for a new car, you should check out our pre-owned vehicles. They qualify for 1.9% financing with Ford credit and have a 12-month, 12,000-mile comprehensive warranty with a 72-month, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Stop by and visit with them. If you don't see it on the lot, ask. They can get it for you. Tillamook Motor Company, a better place to do business. And speaking of ads, this isn't so much an ad, but there's a public announcement here that maybe you should do. It's for Benny and the Bay City Rockers.
The bad news, good news department. The bad news is I got to attend one of the Rockers' funerals this weekend. Rich Riley, well known in the Rockaway community and actually well known throughout Tillamook County.
Absolutely.
Passed away. He finally succumbed to cancer. It's always sad to see a really good guy like that go.
Sure.
He was a member of the band, and
yeah.
A lot of people didn't know that he was a 3-time Golden Glove champion too in his
I
younger days. Yeah, and it was a difficult time, but we sent him away good.
Yeah,
great guy. Benny and the Bay City Rockers, not as a result of it, but we'll be playing this Wednesday, February the 24th, at the Tillamook County Library. There on 3rd Street. We'll start at 6:30, go till about 8:30. It's free, and it's family friendly, so bring the kids out. We'll see what we can do about getting them tired. If you look at the picture here, this was The last time we did it at the library was Halloween, and there's a cute little girl there that was out there singing and dancing while we were singing and not dancing, but playing. So it's a great time. It's a great opportunity to just get out of the house and have a little bit of fun. What we did is, years ago, the church that I'm in, one of the people had a guitar and wanted to learn to play, and Ben Douglas is also Dr. Ben Douglas, a.k.a. Benny of the Benny and the Bay City Rockers, a phenomenal guitar player. Started giving lessons, and then we played at 2nd Street Market one Christmas, and then they said, you need to come back because y'all not really that bad. And I said, really? And since then, of course, we've gotten better and added more songs. The first songbook we had 30-some songs in it. Now I just redid it this weekend and put all 180-some songs in it.
Oh, wow.
So there's quite a list of songs that we might be playing, but one thing is for sure, we'll always have a good time, and it's sing-along. We encourage everybody that comes to sing along.
Yay. Well, you guys are definitely a prolific act. I see Benny in the Bay City Rockers ads quite often throughout the year.
We managed to hit most of the fairs and different events that run around Tillamook County, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, it's nice, too, like you said, that it's all ages.
Yeah.
Appreciated by all ages.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we have a couple more minutes. Is there anything else you wanted to share?
I have about run it out. We're going to be getting ready for, I guess the right way to say it is, do you really remember where your sunglasses are? Because we're going to have sun for a few days, which is totally different. I did bring, because we set some records.
Oh, great. We love trivia.
Well, it's rainfall for the winter season, and the winter season ends in February.
Okay.
So as soon as February runs out, we run out of the winter season, and this has been the wettest winter season for Portland. It's the stations that they list, of course, are official NOAA stations, of which Tillamook County is a FAA station, so they're not on there.
And we just have the one at the airport here.
Right,
yeah.
And that's an FAA, so the Weather Service doesn't track that. That's why you never see a record or anything for Tillamook County.
Well, there you go.
But Astoria is having the 20th wet season, winter season that they've ever had.
Wow.
And these numbers are pretty likely to change because we still have another, week or so to go before the end of the month. So it will definitely be the wettest winter season for Portland, and other places like Hillsborough, Astoria, Salem, McMinnville, and Eugene are in the running to start setting some records. And one in Portland, by the way, it beat their 1890s.
Wow.
Yeah, so from 1940 to present is the numbers that you're looking at. And so if you thought it was raining a lot,
it was.
It's because it's raining a lot.
Yeah. Somebody, and I don't know, I can't recall who, one of my Facebook friends said they found some information somewhere that indicated that parts of the coast had it like double the rain of Portland. Does that sound right?
That wouldn't sound out of the question.
Yeah.
It's weather around here is unusual because one area can get just dumped on and the other area just sort of gets dumped on,
Right.
So we always look here on the coast, we're getting 5 inches of rain while the coast range is getting 15 to 20 inches of rain.
Yeah.
And unfortunately during this December period, we got just as much rain as the mountains did. So it had no place to drain except it found places it didn't need to.
Well, we're definitely ready for a nice sunny stretch here, even if it's only for a few days.
It'll be different.
Yeah. Well, Gordon, thanks you so much, and thanks to the listeners, and we'll see you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.